Hello brothers and sisters, welcome to another episode here on Dangerous African Confessions HD. In this episode, we are going to listen a confession from one of our brothers, who talks about what he did when he was so much desperate in looking for money. This thing about young guys going for money rituals is really getting out of hand on our society these days. And I really do fear for the future of this generation, where material things are the only thing that matters to us. Without taking much of your time, let us go and listen to what we have for today. Don't forget to please subscribe, share and like our videos. Kindly hit the notification bell so you will be the first to get notification to our videos when we upload.
Hello everyone, I come to you humbly with this confession of how I nearly lost it all and almost went mad after I had gone for money rituals to enable me make money. And I want to share this my experience with you all my brothers, so that you will be more careful when you are taking such decisions like I did. I am only a lucky person to still be here talking or having this conversation with you. I must tell you that, if anyone comes to tell you that the way to riches is an easy one, then think twice about it. Because the kind of things you will have to do or go through before you will have what you are looking for is not something that I can really explain. This is exactly what happened to me when I visited this place to go for money. It all happened when I had come to the city to make ends meet for me and my family. I wasn't only the one that had traveled to the city. I was in a company of other two friends, who I came with from our village to the city. Our coming to the city was at the back of an advice that we had from one of our longtime friends who had traveled earlier. And he really did his best when we came to the city. Even though he had not gotten to a point where he can confidently say that he's made it in life. Nevertheless, he was living comfortably in his rented apartment. I was a shop attendant at a supermarket, where lots of these young guys of my age would come and shop lots of things. Some will come in their nice cars when they come to buy from the shop. I worked at this shop for quite some years, and so I had gotten to know some of the guys who come to shop with these cars. One particular guy always was very nice and kind to me. Anytime he comes buys from the shop, he will give me the remaining money, I mean the change. Sometimes, he will initiate a conversation with me for about some time before he will leave the shop. With this, we practically talk much about so many things, including life and even money. He was such a kind young guy, who sometimes will even offer to help me when it comes to foodstuffs. That especially did happen on weekends. That is when he comes to buy on weekends, he will always try and get me some of the things that he is buying for himself. This went on for a long time like I was saying. So we could actually talk about stuff. One day he told me that, when I have my off day, I can visit him, since we are now friends. And he said he would love for me to visit him when I get the chance. And there was this week that I didn't go to work throughout the week, because I was really sick. When I was getting better, I called him and he gave me the direction to his place. I got to the area where he had shown me, and I was confused. This place was amongst the area where the rich in the city were mostly living. I called him again and told him I might have gotten lost. He laughed and told me that I am not. He asked exactly where I was and I showed him. He told me to wait there, because his younger brother would come and pick me to the place. His brother came in a very nice Toyota Camry. He took me to the house. And when the car entered the compound of the house, I was shocked. The place was just something spectacular. There were about 5 cars parked in the compound in addition to the Camry his brother came with. His brother led me inside the main building, and I was even blown away by the interior design of the house. I asked his brother if this is where they live. And he told me yes, the house belongs to his senior brother, the very person I had gone to see was the owner of this magnificent house. I knew he was okay with life and had his own car, but I was never expecting something like this when I decided to go and visit him. I was thinking I would meet him in a 2-bedroom or so apartment, but this guy had this full house to himself. And it was not rented, he owned the house. That was when I realized how much he might worth. That day, I got to realize that, even the monies he gives me were nothing to him at all. We had a beautiful chat, and he told me that he likes me a lot and would love to know me more. That was how we got so close to each other. He became someone that I always knew I could trust on him in times of need. So it happened when my mother fell seriously ill and needed to be operated on. At least that is what the doctor told us. The amount needed for her operation was much more than I could afford. So, I went to my new friend to help me secure the operation for my mother. He didn't hesitate to help me with the amount that was needed for her operation. So, that was how I was able to pay for my mother's medical expenses. After my mother had undergone the operation and it was successful, this new friend of mine called me home one day and had some conversation with me. Something that was going to change my life forever. During our conversation, he told me that he wants me to have a very deep thinking of what he is about to tell me. He told me that I needed to be someone that my mother can rely on in times of need. He said, I needed to get to a point in life where I wouldn't need to call on someone to be able to save myself or any of my family member. It didn't make sense to me that much. And so, I asked him what he really meant by that. He told me that he wanted me to be someone that I will have money to a point where my mother will be proud of me. I told him that I was doing everything within my means to be able to secure a life for myself and for my family. Just that, I am not making enough money to cater for all the expenses that I have to cater for. After telling him this, he looked at me for a while and laughed at me. He came and sat right by my side in his sofa, where I was sitting. He then told me that, if I really want to make money, he is also willing to help me in any way that he can. After that, he told me that I would need to be bold and try as hard as I can. Because according to him, the road to making money is not an easy road. There are a lot of things that one needs to know and do before he or she can break through the obstacles in this life. He made a promise to help me reach his level of money. This I asked him how that would be possible. He told me not to worry myself, because he will handle all that there is to do for me to get on the way. You see, I will tell you that I wasn't desperate to make money. But sometimes, if you listen to wrong advice from people, it can lead you to a place where you may not have planned to be. That is exactly what happened to me. I allowed myself to be lured into this kind of situation where I could have prevented it from happening to me. My friend was able to convince me with all there is for him to tell me. He took me to a place where he told me was a temple where spiritual things are done to help people who are in need of spiritual help. When we went to this place where the temple was, we met some people who were at the place seeking for spiritual help, just like I have also gone to the place to seek for help. My friend went in and after a while, he came out and called me into the temple. When I got there, there was nothing like a chair in the temple. Everyone was sitting on the bare floor, as each of the people present were all waiting for their time to come, so that they can go and do what the spirits will ask them to do. So, my friend went into a different office in the temple, and when he returned, he told me to follow him into the office. And when we got into the office, that office led us to this place where it had these mud buildings. We were led to this one of the buildings, where we met this old man who is seated on the floor and had this black cloth wrapped around his waist. There were lots of buildings in the room, and different types of mysterious objects were all in the room. I was a bit frightened, but then my friend told me that nothing was there for me to be feared of. The old man smiled and called me by my name, as if someone had told him my name. He then told me not to worry because he was there to guide me and help me solve my problems. He talked to me in a way that it calmed me down. And that is how I was able to sit there with him, so the rituals would be done. That was also the very moment I gave my life and soul out for these people to be able to cage and torment my soul this much. I did spend 3 days together with this my friend at the place that we went to. But at night, we would go and sleep in a hotel that he had rented. My first encounter with this man, he told me that he needed to cleanse me from all evil spirits and bad omen. And so, he gave me a water to add it to my water that I would be bathed in with. And so we went to the town and I got a small rubber bucket to store the water I would use to bath in. Since in the hotel, only shower was there. All the preparations were done and it got to that 3rd day in the night. I was called to this room, where there was this giant mirror placed right in front of you when you enter into the room. And in this room also, there are other forms and colors of candles there, with a mat on which you will sit till what you are supposed to see in the mirror will appear. I was the only one who entered the room, because according to the man, that is what the laws of that place says. That only the person who needs the help from the spiritual world is required to enter into that room. This was after everything that was needed to be done for me had all been done. And when I was about to enter into the room, the old man cautioned me that, whatever I will see in the mirror, I am to wipe the face of the mirror as I am seeing the image or whatever will be. And as I do that, I am exchanging the thing that will appear in the mirror with my wealth. That is, I am sacrificing whatever I will see in there, so that I can make the money that I was looking for. And so, I entered the room and did what I was supposed to do. After about 15 minutes, I could sense the place had become so heavy and it was as if something strange or bad was about to happen in the room. From nowhere, the side of the mirror where you can actually see yourself was actually changing in color. This was very strange and scary at the same time. From nowhere, I saw my mother's picture in the mirror. Now, this is where the problem was. The man had told me that anything that will appear in the mirror, I have no right to shout or decide otherwise, or else I will lose it in my mind or I can even lose my life. So, when I saw my mother from nowhere, I totally forgot about the warnings and shouted no. I cannot do this to my own mother. So I rushed out of the room. My brothers and sisters, that was all that I could remember. It was when I had come back to myself that I was told what had happened to me. Apparently, the guy who took me to the place for the rituals, when we returned back home, he abandoned me and never came close to me again. So, this woman who, according to what I was told, saw me behaving in a way that they didn't understand. And she asked her son to help her take me to their prayer center. So it was at the prayer center that, by the help of the pastor who is in charge of the prayer center and by the grace of the Lord Almighty, I was able to receive healing. This woman and her family has now become my family. Aside the fact that I have my own mother and family I come from, I owe my life to this woman and her son. This is how I nearly got mad because of money rituals, after I saw my mother appeared in the mirror. Please, my fellow people, these things are real. I didn't believe in so many things until it happened to me. So please, don't waste your life by giving this beautiful life that we have to the devil. Because there is nothing good that he has to offer to you, without taking what is so precious to you. And even if you give him what he wants, at the end of the day, everything will come back fighting you. Thank you for giving me this chance to share my life story with you. I hope my life will serve as a lesson to someone out there. Thank you.
Like I always say, these are not just stories for story's sake. They are meant for us not to make these mistakes our brothers and sisters are making. That's why we share these stories with you. After listening to this story, I will say that life indeed is some that no one can predict. And you can't even seem to understand what life is all about. I honestly wish the youth of these days will listen to some of the important lessons in these stories that we share. I honestly think that this generation are really becoming a generation that if we do not sit up and really get to understand the living spirit of Christ, we will be heading for a doom. You see, the devil has many of making sure he will get the youth in this generation to do the unthinkable always. This he has made possible because of the lust for worldly things. That is why the youth are dying plenty nowadays. We keep on making mistakes and it continues to hurt us. Let us be wise and vigilant in our walk in this life. I just hope that we honestly take the important lessons from these stories to better our lives and decisions. I pray that we learn from some of these stories and live a better life. If not for anything at all, it pays to live a decent and better life. Stay blessed and be safe. Thanks for being a part of this growing family. Kindly share your thought with us in the comment section below. And if you are new here, please subscribe, like and share.